You hear about porn addiction all the time, right? It's everywhere. But is it a real addiction like in the same way we think about substance abuse? What does the science of the brain actually tell us? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive deep into the neurological evidence and see what we can find out. Okay, let's get into it. I mean, you've probably heard some incredibly strong claims, like this one, comparing pornography to a drug like heroin. It paints this really intense picture of a brain being completely hijacked. That's the image we're given, this idea of a hijacked brain. But is that what's really happening? Is the brain's wiring being rerouted in the same way it is with a chemical substance? That's the big question we're going to tackle. So let's cut through the noise and go straight to the source, the brain itself. We're going to look at what the neurological evidence, especially the work from neuroscientist Dr. Nicole Prause, really tells us. Okay, so to really get this, we have to talk about a key addiction biomarker called cue reactivity. The easiest way to think about it is like a spotlight in your brain. It measures how intensely your brain's attention just snaps onto a cue, like a picture of a beer for an alcoholic, or in this case, a sexual image. And this, right here, is the bombshell finding. For someone with a substance addiction, that brain spotlight shines brighter and gets more focused when they see a cue. But for people who watch a lot of porn, researchers found the complete opposite. Their cue reactivity was weaker. That brain spotlight actually got dimmer, not bright. So what does that all mean? It's pretty straightforward. The main brain signal that scientists look for as a hallmark of addiction, it's just not there in people who watch a lot of porn. That neurological signature is missing. Okay, so that opens up a huge question, right? If the brain doesn't look like it's addicted, then what is going on? Why do some people really struggle to control their porn use to the point where it messes up their life? Because we've all heard the stories. I mean, people whose porn use seems completely out of control. If it's not a brain addiction in the classic sense, what on earth is driving that behavior? Well, the research suggests we might be looking at the wrong thing entirely. The behavior could be a way of coping with depression. It might be a compulsive ritual, kind of like OCD. Or it could just be a really, really ingrained habit that's hard to break. The point is, the problem might not be the porn, but the underlying reason for the behavior. And this is where things get really serious. Because getting the diagnosis wrong isn't just an academic mistake. As Dr. Prause points out, if you label something like OCD or a coping mechanism for depression as sex addiction, you could send someone down a completely wrong treatment path. They might never get the help they actually need for the real problem.
Now we need to talk about something else, and it's a huge piece of this puzzle. It's a massive hole you find in a lot of the anti-porn research. You could call it the masturbation blind spot. Let me break it down. It's pretty simple, really. Fact number one, when people watch porn, they almost always masturbate. Fact number two, a lot of the studies that claim porn causes negative effects, they don't separate the effects of watching porn from the effects of masturbating. So if you don't isolate one from the other, how can you possibly claim that porn is the sole cause? You can't. And the takeaway from this is huge. It means any study that screams, porn caused this, but didn't account for masturbation, well, it's standing on some pretty shaky ground, scientifically speaking. It's a fundamental flaw. Okay, so we've been deep in the weeds of neuroscience. Let's pull the camera back a bit and look at the bigger social picture, how all this stuff plays out in our real lives, with our partners and our kids. So you've got this popular narrative, right, that porn is this modern crisis, just destroying relationships. But when researchers dig in, they find something much more human. The conflict is rarely about the porn itself. It's a trigger for deeper conversations about values, about trust, about insecurity. You know, the same relationship dynamics couples have been dealing with forever. Okay, but let's talk about the elephant in the room for a lot of parents. What about kids? What is all this stuff doing to their developing brains? It's a huge and very valid concern. And here's the tough, honest answer from a scientific perspective. We actually can't know for sure. I mean, to prove that porn causes a certain brain change in a kid, you'd have to run an experiment where you show porn to kids. That's obviously illegal and completely unethical. So because we can't do that research, anyone who claims they have proof of causation is going beyond what science can actually say. So what does influence teens? Well, parents often worry it's all about peer pressure, but the research actually shows the opposite. A teenager's sexual values line up way more closely with their parents' values than with their friends. It's a good reminder that the conversations you have at home, they really, really matter.
All right, so as we start to land the plane here, let's talk about where the science is actually going, beyond all the myths and the scary headlines. And here's a super practical tip for you. The next time you're reading an article on this topic, listen to the words being used. If you hear these really dramatic terms like flooded or hijacked, that's a pretty good red flag. Real scientists don't usually talk like that, and it could be a sign you're in pseudoscience territory. You also hear this idea a lot, that today's high-speed internet porn is somehow more powerful, a super stimulus for the brain. But honestly, the science doesn't back that up. Sexual arousal seems to be sexual arousal. The way it's delivered has changed, sure, but the fundamental response in the brain appears to be the same. In fact, the new research is uncovering things that are way more fascinating. Scientists are studying something called the periorgasmic period. It's this unique brain state right around orgasm where cognitive control is lowered for a bit. And here's the key part. You don't get there just by watching something. It requires active physical involvement. And this is the beautiful part. All this new science just keeps reinforcing that there's something neurologically unique, something truly special about being with another person. Technology is amazing, but it can't replicate some of these fundamental human experiences. Which brings us to our final thought. What if we just stopped fighting over this scientifically shaky idea of porn addiction? Maybe then we could free up all that energy to focus on what's really going on, things like depression, anxiety, and communication skills. Maybe we can start working on what actually helps people connect.